Lesson 5-6 and 5-7, multiply by monomials and binomials. So in this video, we're going to go through some examples of how you multiply monomials and then how you multiply with binomials. So first off, let's go through with monomials. Remember, a monomial is just a group of numbers and or letters. So here we're going to multiply the coefficients of a monomial, and then when you have the variables, you're going to multiply the variables with the variables. And remember the rules of exponents. When you multiply like bases, you add the exponents. So if you take a look at the picture here, x squared y times parentheses 2x squared minus 3. If I did x squared y times 2x squared, there's a 1 in front of the x squared. We just never put that in there, but there's a 1 here. 1 times 2 is 2. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th, and then we have y. And then if you distribute to the negative 3, 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. X squared times 1 is x squared. Y times 1 is y. So just remember the rules of exponents when you are multiplying these monomials. So let's take a look at our first examples. Here we want to multiply these. So we have 2x times 3x. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. Next, we have negative 2/3 CD times 12D squared. Well, negative 2/3 times 12. So negative 2 times 12 is negative 24. And negative 24 divided by 3 is a negative 8. And then I have C times 1, which is C. D times D squared is D to the 3rd. Next, I have 10x cubed y times 3x squared y squared. 10 times 3 is 30. Then I got x cubed times x squared. Remember, we add the exponents, so that would be x to the 5th. And then y times y squared is y to the 3rd. Next, we have a monomial times a polynomial. So we're just going to be using this distributive property. So we're going to distribute 2x to both terms. So 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2x times 1 is a positive 2x. There are no like terms left over because the x's have different exponents. Next, multiply ab cubed times 3a minus 7a to the 4th b squared. So if I distribute, 1 times 3 is 3. That would be a squared b to the 3rd. And then ab cubed times negative 7a to the 4th b squared. This will be minus 7. This will be a to the 5th, b to the 5th. There is no like terms here, so my final answer would remain the same. Next, distribute the negative 4p, and this is going to give us 16p to the 3rd. Distribute to the second term, and that's going to give us a negative 8p squared. And then distribute to the third term, and that would give us a positive 28p. Moving on to more examples, distribute the mn to the 5th. That'll give us 2m squared n to the 5th. To the second term, it would be a minus 6m to the 3rd n to the 7th. And then distribute to the third term, that would give us positive 5m n to the 8th. Next one, we're just distributing negative 2r to the 4th s squared to every term. So that's going to give us a negative 14 r to the 7th s to the 3rd minus 8 r to the 8th s to the 5th. Distribute to the third term, that would be a positive 2 r to the 4th, s to the 4th. Moving on to our next part, which here we have a word problem, or just a word statement. Here it says write the expression for area of the rectangle with dimensions 2x squared y squared and 3x squared y minus xy squared plus 5x squared. So sometimes with polynomials, they might give you a diagram and you're using the diagram, and they might say find the perimeter or find the volume or find the area. Here they're finding the area of a rectangle, and remember the area of a rectangle is length times width. And we have two dimensions. We have the length here and the width here, or vice versa. So all we're going to do is just multiply them. So I'm just distributing this. So 2 times 3 is going to give us 6. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Let me make that 4 a little bit better. And then y squared times y is y to the 3rd. Distribute to the second term, so that's going to give us a negative 2 x to the 3rd y to the 4th. Then distribute to the third term, be positive 10 x to the 4th y squared. And since we don't have the units of measurements, we can just leave this as units squared or square units. Next, it says write the expression for the area of a trapezoid. In the area of a trapezoid, you can see the formula here. A equals half of the height times base 1 plus base 2. So I've already substituted those numbers in for the height. So the height is 8x, and the base 1 is 2x squared plus 3. And the base of the second part is 5x squared plus 9x minus 11. Now just to review a trapezoid, here is one example of a trapezoid. So this would be like base 1, this is like base 2, and the height would be from the top to the bottom. So now let's simplify this. We can simplify the outside first. So half of 8x is just 4x. So I'm going to write that, we'll say this is 4x here. And then all we're going to do is just distribute inside here. But before we distribute, I would probably simplify what's in the parentheses here. So 2x squared plus 5x squared is 7x squared. 0x plus 9x is 9x. And then 15 plus a negative 12 is a minus 9. Now I make it a little bit easier to distribute. So 4x times 7x squared is 28x to the 3rd. Then we have 4x times 9x, which will give us a positive 36x squared. And 4x times negative 9 is a negative 36x. And again, this is area, so this would be square units. Moving on to the next part. Here we are dealing with binomials. So we're going to multiply using three different methods. The tabular method, or you can consider it the area method, which you can see here. So here, if the dimensions are x plus 4 and x plus 2, you just separated them in the 4 boxes and then find the area of each box. So x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, x times 4 is 4x, and 4 times 2 is 8. And then you combine them and it gives you your x squared plus 6x plus 8. We can also use the vertical method, which is very similar to multiplying two two-digit numbers. So here they did negative 2 times negative 5 and got 10. Negative 2 times 3x got you a negative 6x. And negative 2 times x squared gives you a negative 2x squared. And then remember, you always put the 0 down because the next digit is always in the next place value, which in this case would be the tens place. So we have x times negative 5, which gives us negative 5x. X times 3x gives you 3x squared. And x times x squared is x cubed. And then you combine like terms, and then here you can see your answer. The third method would be using FOIL. So if you have two binomials, you're really using the distributive property here, taking the first term, x times x gives you x squared, x times 1 gives you 1x, Then you distribute the 9 to both terms. 9 times x is 9x, 9 times 1 is 9, and then you combine like terms here, and this will give you x squared plus 10x plus 9. So we're going to practice each of these methods in our next few examples. So here we're going to multiply following the tabular method, or known as the area method. So if I draw a box here, and we'll say this one is x plus 1 and this is x plus 4. So this will be x squared, 4x, 1x, 4. So if I put them all together, that's going to give us x squared plus 5x plus 4. This next one, draw a box. And this would be x plus 4, and this is x plus 6. Now it doesn't matter which one you put on top and which one you put on the side, it will still work out. Multiply to find each area. This would be x squared. 4 times x is 4x. 6 times x is 6x. And 6 times 4 is 24. Putting those together, you get x squared plus 10x plus 24. And then our last one here, we draw our box. And we put our dimensions in, so x plus 3, and this is x plus 2. Find the area. This would be x squared. X times 3 is 3x. X times 2 is 2x, and 3 times 2 is 6. So putting that together gives us x squared plus 5x plus 6. The next examples, we're going to be showing the vertical method. So here we got 3x minus 1 times 2x minus 9. So I'm going to distribute the negative 9. So 9 times negative 1, or negative 9 times negative 1 is a positive 9. Negative 9 times 3x is a negative 27x. Then we put our 0 down, and then we distribute the 2x. So 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. And 2x times 3x is 6x squared. So combine that, that gives us 6x squared minus 29x plus 9. And our last one here, we got x plus 2y and 3x minus 4y. If we multiply those, negative 4 times 2, that gives us negative 8y squared. Negative 4y times x is a negative 4xy. Next, we have a 0 here. Then it'd be 3x times 2y, which is going to give us 6xy. And then 3x times x is positive 3x squared. And combining those, that would give us 3x squared plus 2xy minus 8y squared. And our last method is the FOIL method. So here we're just distributing each term of the first binomial to every term in the second binomial. So 5y squared, or 5y times 2y is 10y squared. 5y times negative 5 is negative 25y. Negative 2 times 2y is a negative 4y. And negative 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10. So putting that all together gives us 10y squared minus 29y plus 10. This next one, distribute the 8m. That's going to give us 48m squared plus 32mn. 2 times 6 is a positive 12mn. And then 2n times 4n is a positive 8n squared. So that's going to give us an answer of 48m squared plus 44mn plus 8n squared. And our last one here, distribute the negative 3r times 2r is a negative 6r squared. Negative 3r times 7t is a negative 21rt. Negative 4t times 2r is negative 8rt. And negative 4t times 28t is a negative 28t squared. So all those combined, it's going to give us an answer of negative 6r squared minus 29rt minus 28t squared. So that's our lesson on multiplying monomials and binomials.